my name is Tobias. I'm your Ewon expert for the day. I'm going to walk you through how to set up an Ewon Cozy. Alright, let's start up with eBuddy. eBuddy is an Ewon management tool. You're going to see all the Ewons you're connected to via Ethernet. You're going to be able to see things like serial number, the device type, its IP address, and the firmware. It's going to show all the Ewons you're connected to via your network adapters. You don't even have to be on the same subnet. You also get options to open the browser, set the IP, do a backup or restore on the unit, upgrade its firmware, or manage the contents of an SD card. Once you connect to a unit via eCatcher, which I'll show you later, this will also come up. As you can see, it'll show you what you're connected to via LAN or eCatcher. Let's open it up in a browser. Okay, let's go into the wizards. If we open the unit up in a browser, we're going to see this screen, and it's going to show us the quick launch wizards. But quickly, I'll show you a few features of the Ewon. Firstly, there's a summary page, which will show you a quick rundown of your unit. Here's the tags values page, which once you've set up your Flexy, will show your PLC's tags. There's also the alarms page, the PLC drivers page, some event logs. I'll go into that in another video. Back to the wizards. Let's first do the system wizard. Here is you can set up things like the Ewon name, the username, and password. If we click next, here we can change the time zone of the Ewon. Make sure to click Update Clock via NTP, so the unit gets its time from a time server. Here we can change the port allocation. Let's click Next to finish up the wizard. Let's move on to the Internet wizard. Here is how you give your unit internet. I've got the following options for my unit. Depending on what unit you have, you'll have different options. I'm going to pick 4G. Next, we'll pick our SIM card settings. Usually it's Telstra.internet for Telstra and Internet for Optus. You'll have to pick the settings that match your SIM card. Unless you've set one up, there's usually no username or password for your SIM card. Just keep clicking Next until you reach the Internet connection test. Here it'll do a short connection test to see if your internet is working. I'll just skip ahead a bit to save you guys time. Alright, it's finished. Let's click Finish to be done. We can also set up a secondary internet connection. So if the primary one goes down, it'll revert to its fallback. Let's just click No for now. Before I do the VPN wizard, there's one more thing I want to show you. That's eCatcher. You'll first want to create a free account, but since I've already done that, I'll skip that step. You'll just want to log in, and you'll be greeted with this screen. This will show you a list of all the Ewons on your account, as well as the user and account reference in the top right. You'll also get some options for the properties of the Ewon, a log, and to connect to the Ewon. On the left, you'll see some more advanced options, like setting up more users, pools, groups, and account information. Since I'm attaching a new Ewon, I'll just click Add and create a new Ewon. I'll give it a name, a description, and you can even set up some custom fields if you want to. I think the easiest way to attach an Ewon to your account is to use the activation key. So just click Copy to Clipboard. And let's go back to the VPN wizard. Here we can input the activation key to attach the Ewon to our account. It'll just do a short test to make sure everything is working. Alright, cool. All done. Generally, green means good, red means bad. Now if you go back to eCatcher, the newly created Ewon should be online. There we go, testing Ewon is online. If we go to properties of the Ewon, we can see some more information about the Ewon, like where it's located, its name, some descriptions or custom fields if we set it, as well as the serial number. If you're going to attach it again, you can click TalkDem Connectivity and you'll get back to the activation key. You can also modify the connection type, as well as configure LAN devices and firewall. I'll get into that later. You can also see what firmware the unit is running. Let's configure a LAN device. So depending on what firewall you're on, you may have to set up some LAN devices. On the standard, you don't have to, but on the higher ones, you should set up LAN devices for all your units attached. Let's click Add LAN device to add one. The name is obviously just a visual name. The IP address is its IP address. And you can set up a description if you want. Here you can narrow down the specific protocol if you want to. And you can make it visible in M2Web, which is like a web-based eCatcher. Since it's a HMI, I'm going to use VNC so I can view it on the web. See, as I was saying before, if your firewall is on high, only certain LAN devices are able to be accessed. Let's click OK to set everything up. Now when I double click to connect to the unit, you'll see all my declared IP addresses for all my declared devices. If I show you a proper unit in the wild, you can see I have lots of declared LAN devices. If I show you a proper eCatcher account, if I connect to a unit, I should be able to see all the LAN devices I've added. And if we move on to M2Web, which is like a web-based eCatcher, and log in, I'm going to see a list of my Ewons. And when I click one, I'll see all my declared LAN devices on the right. And if I even click one, the built-in VNC viewer will let me view my HMI through the web. This works on both a desktop and your phone. Let's move on to setting up the PLC. As you can see, I'm connected to two PLCs, a CompactLodgix and an S7 1200. The first thing to do is when connected is to see if I can ping both of them. Yep, all good. If I open RS Links, if I want to connect to the CompactLodgix, I have to add a new driver, which is Ethernet devices. Name it whatever you want. And just put the IP address of the PLC. Now if I browse that driver, the PLC comes up. If I go into TIA portal, and try to go online. If I pick the right network adapter, which is the tap Windows adapter, which is a special one for eCatcher, as you can see, the PLC comes up at 192.168.0.2. I can even flash the LEDs to make sure I'm connected.